It's a matter of history. In Sabah, around 100 followers of the alleged Sultan of Sulu are refusing to budge from the state they say was gifted to them in 1658.
The area which we now refer to as Sabah was ceded over to the Kingdom of Sulu as a result of Sulu, the Kingdom of Sulu, coming to the aid of the Kingdom of Brunei in the course of a rebellion. So that sharing, that giving of the territory to Sulu was on the part of Brunei. So today, it is on the basis of that Sulu now makes a claim to Sabah. But of course, historically, we have to remember that Sabah was part of the Brunei kingdom and not Sulu.
There are claims Malaysia has been paying the Sulu Sultanate rent to keep Sabah, but academic Dr. Farish Noor says this would be purely tokenistic. The Home Minister says Malaysia won't compromise on its sovereignty over Sabah either.
If these people who claim to be the descendants of the Sultan of Sulu claim the right to claim Sabah on historical grounds, well, you could push the historical claim even further. Because before Sabah was part of Sulu, Sabah was, of course, part of Brunei. So Brunei can claim to have an older entitlement, an older claim than Sulu. So it just becomes ridiculous because then Brunei can claim Sabah and Sarawak, or Malaysia can claim Singapore. Where will this lead the entire region?
The supposedly armed Suluk say they just want to stay in their rightful home of Sabah. But with little news coming out from the state, that's hard to ascertain.
The general public, we do not know what these people's intentions are. And I think that's why this thing has to be dealt with in an open and clear manner, so that, firstly, the public, particularly the public in Sabah, knows what's going on, and secondly, to avoid later accusations that there was some cover-up or what have you. Because I think on historical grounds and on legal grounds, frankly, I do not take this claim by those who claim to represent the Sultan of Sulu very seriously. But the problem is these are not simply people who have a deluded sense of entitlement. I mean, these are people with guns, and that's the thing that's making it a tense situation.
So what can the Malaysian government do to resolve the situation?
Well, I think the problem, as far as that issue is concerned, it's twofold. The first problem is that these are not simply visitors. These are visitors with guns. So there is a potential for violence, which I think everyone wants to avoid. And I think both the Malaysian and Philippine government in particular wants to avoid this after, managing the conflict in southern Philippines and bringing about a resolution with the MILF over there. So that's the first point. The second problem is, one of legality, because these are non-state actors. I take it that these people who claim to be descendants of the Sultan of Sulu were not dispatched by the government of the Philippines. So if anything, it's quite embarrassing for the government of the Philippines. But then it's also problematic for the Malaysian government, because what do you do in a situation like this? If you go in there, guns blazing, there is almost, there's a high likelihood that there will be violence. And it may give the impression of a state using violence to forcibly eject people.
Both the Malaysian government and the Philippine government say they're committed to resolving the conflict peacefully. Samisha Naidu, Kini TV.